So I guess we're live now, Walter, because we're on. Hey, the guys are in the Capitol today. Welcome to Texas Fully Loaded. We're kind of scrambling right now. We're on the road right now. We got people in Austin going to the Capitol, and just jumped right into this apparently. So here we are, Texas Fully Loaded today. John Boucher hosting the show while the others get set up. That's the remote shot you got of the parking lot that they're working on right now. Um, Let me see something here if I can get you guys. I'll go ahead and play our opener just for the jazz of it. Well, howdy, folks. John Boucher here today. I'm hosting the show, trying to get through some of the technical difficulties. Sandra and Walter are remote right now. They're at the Capitol. They're going down to talk to some of our legislators, I guess, today. So they're taking a walk right now. That's a shot of the parking lot where they are. I hope Walter has clothes on because that would be embarrassing if he didn't. But that's some of the noise you're hearing in the background. I'm gonna go ahead and mute their mic for a minute, just so you don't hear all that noise going on right now. Texas Fully Loaded. There's always a lot going on in this crazy world we're living in. We try and keep you guys current. Let me go ahead and take Sandra's mic. Okay, now you're not muted anymore, Sandra. What's going on?
Hey, y'all. So we're in Austin right now. It's funny because all the cool kids are here. We barely get out of the car. We see Sheriff Del Bosque. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing okay?
Yeah. We're on Texas Fully Loaded. Y'all say hi to our national audience.
How y'all doing?
So we're, like I said in the write-up, we're gonna have lots of on-site interviews. It's gonna be a lot of fun. John has the controls because we're all over the place, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. But we're excited about what's happening here in our state capital. We're gonna have a lot of fun, see a lot of good faces, and have just a lot of Texas, y'all.
Hey, I had a horrible opening, Sandra. I hit live, and I'm like, what do I do with my hands now? So I had to go back and play the intro, but we got it worked out now. I think we're on track here. Yeah, excited for what you guys are doing in Austin today. I wish I could be there, but I got a whole bunch of things to do. It's my little to-do list on the back wall over my shoulder here. That's for today. That whole little whiteboard list. So lots of stuff. I stay pretty busy. I did want to talk about, while you guys walk down there, something going on in the world today on this big blue marble, something called the World Economic Forum.
Well, hey, guys, John, I'm having a hard time hearing because of the helicopters. I'm going to close you guys really quick, and then I'll be back to you when I can not be jumping all over the place with the laptop.
I'll mute you for now.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah, so the World Economic Forum is happening today in Davos, Switzerland. The theme of this event is the cooperation in a fragmented world. And we certainly are living in a fragmented world right now. If you pay attention to Texas Fully Loaded, we talk constantly about what's happening all across this globe. Will.i.am, I understand, is a speaker there. Of course, he's got a lot to say, a brilliant economic mind that he has. I don't know much about the guy. Greta Thunberg is there. She's a real celebrity in this deal. But basically, if you wanted to boil it down, what is the World Economic Forum? Well, it's a bunch of billionaires flying in on their private jets to lecture everyone about climate and how businesses need to be really more focused on everyone else more than those businesses they create. The people created the businesses and the profit margins. So they will be lecturing the small to medium sized businesses about how they should view the world and be less profit driven. It gives you a warm fuzzy when you figure out the U.S. is represented by John Kerry there, along with Marty Walsh, U.S. Labor Secretary. The key issues they'll be discussing at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland today and going forward is economic outlook. Is a recession. They're going to talk about that, the world recession going on right now. The impacts of inflation, the global impacts of inflation right now. They'll be discussing that. The geopolitical considerations, such as what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on in China, what's going on with Taiwan, all those geopolitical considerations and how that impacts the economy and the world economy. China's role in the world economy, have a very prominent role in the world economy, and they're grabbing a lot of influence around the world right now and seizing a lot of markets, I guess is the best way to put it. And of course, the biggest thing for them is the threat of climate change is on the agenda for the World Economic Forum, because you can't have a World Economic Forum without talking about the devastating impacts of climate change, apparently. And they have their resident expert on the scene, Greta Thunberg, to tell us all about it. Thanks, Greta. We appreciate you telling us, educating us morons on climate change. So yes, this essentially boils down to an event where billionaires fly in from all over the world to lecture millionaires on down about how the middle class feels and should be treated. So I'm sure it's a wonderful event. I did see President Trump is going to be there, but there are 116 billionaires in attendance at this event. So that's what's going on at the World Economic Forum in Davos. On the national level right now, I guess the biggest story is the scattered amounts of classified documents that Joe Biden has all over the country, apparently. I think there's 3 or 4 stashes they found now of classified documents. But that's not the biggest story, the documents themselves. I think the biggest story is how the press treats the finding of these documents when you juxtapose that to what they did with Trump. Raiding his house, big, huge news thing, had the crew out there, had all the FBI coming in late at night with their flashlights and their warrants and everything. No such effort has been made over all the Biden classified documents. So why is that? I mean, it seems like a double standard, doesn't it? So what's the mainstream media do? I saw a story on MSNBC or one of those talking about how there's different levels of classified documents, and maybe why Biden's wasn't so bad and Trump's was horrible. Whether you want to believe that or not, you can believe it if you want, but certainly that's not the case. They're classified for a reason. Classified means classified. That's what it means. And Biden has these things stashed all over the place. Now, I have heard some people speculate, maybe, just maybe, that these classified document findings or dumps or reports are a way to distract us from other things that are going on. And that's certainly possible with the economy being what it is and all the stuff that's happening right now. So that could be the case. But I would sure like to know what were in these classified documents. I did see one report where there's a link possibly to Hunter Biden in these documents. Don't know what the nature of it is because they didn't really discuss that. It was just said, there's a link in there. I did see also Hunter Biden is suing a woman that he apparently had a child with to keep the daughter from having his last name. Doesn't want the Biden name on the child. And if the child were old enough to speak for itself, I'm sure it would agree that it doesn't want the Biden name either. But that's going on right now. I guess Biden doesn't want to be the embarrassment of having a child, but he is quite an embarrassment anyway. So that is what's happening right now in this lovely world. Let me see what's going on with our comments right now because I'm waiting for the other folks to come back. Why with y'all in spirit, Simon Garcia. Thanks, Simon. Good morning, Howard. How you doing, brother? Hope everything's going well with you. Missed you at the Tea Party meeting last night. I know you don't make all of them, but occasionally it's good to see you there when you're there. Hopefully, the exterior strives to do something to end this recession and roll back the grab of market control to conservative hands. I got to tell you, we conservatives are fewer and fewer, it seems. And the ones that we have seem to get beaten into submission so much. You just saw what happened in Congress and the U.S. House. Just a handful of them had the guts to take a stand. They took the slings and arrows from all the other alleged conservatives during that debate. And you saw how that shook out. But Jameson Ellis says, morning, John. Morning, my friend. It was good to see you last night. And Bridget says, I wonder if the left collaborated to actually have their own Dem president impeached because he is a liability to party agenda and Kamala can then move up the ladder to be a better spoken puppet. Okay, well, first of all, she's not a better spoken puppet. That chick can barely put 2 words together, number one. Number two, if you put her in the White House, it's going to be a scary scenario because that would put her in for 10 years possibly. Think about that. She'd finish out the 2 years of the Biden term, and she'd be eligible for 2 more terms. That would be an absolute nightmare. I don't think America could survive it, nor could the English language.
John, wait a minute. You wouldn't be speaking ill of our potential hyena in chief, are you?
She's something
She's
special.
the
isn't she?
highest hyena in the land, and I'm not gonna sit around and let people insult her or take that away from her.
She's something else for sure. But anyway, so what are you guys doing right now? You're matriculating towards the Capitol, correct?
We are, and we're getting closer to the festivities. I'm super excited. Walter was the man with the plan. He actually had all of his stuff together. So let the record show. I'm gonna turn you guys around here. I don't know. We can start seeing things as they're filling in. There's the big media. We aren't there yet, but by golly, we will be. But no, it's really nice. Like I said, we've already started seeing lots of people that we know. Some we drove faster by. Others we stopped and said hello. Just kidding. Not really. Walter's running like there's a sale at Macy's. Hold on a second.
Huh. That's funny.
So no, it really just is a really fun. You like that? Like there was a sale at Macy's. The Taste of Texas is set up kind of like right next door on the lawn. So that's exciting. We'll be there.
No, it seems like a
Walter will be giving us play-by-play on.
Sandra, it looks like a very carnival-like environment there going on with the little awning and everything. Is there like any games you can play, like pin the tail on the rhino or anything? Have a dunking booth?
Oh, hey, look at this. There should be. It is the greatest clown show of them all. So.
Well, so what's your focus for being there today, Sandra? What are y'all looking into mostly? What are the topics du jour, as the coon-ass in me would say?
Hey, you're using them fancy words right now, and I don't know how I feel about it. You know what? The big deal for us is, we as everyone knows, this has never been a secret from Texas Fully Loaded, Sandra for Texas, or Bacon Master, that we are very critical of Governor Abbott. We will be, and it's important to be, even though he is our Republican governor. That's why we as Republicans need to hold him even higher in accountability. This is a big day for Texans. We could be swearing in a socialist, and at least we're not doing that, as they say. But in the same breath, where is the actual win? We're going to find out. So far, we're not seeing any wins out of this legislative session. We said that we were going to be here to hold our people accountable, and we can't do that if we're not physically present. And I think that that's one of the things that we saw quickly happen was when COVID happened, they saw that they could get away with whatever they wanted to because, we can't have people here. Yes, this is your house, but we can't have you in it because you might get people sick. So they did a lot of nasty things during the COVID pandemic and in the session after COVID happened. So, I think that when they see that we're not going to quit, I think when they see that no matter how they try to sugarcoat it, that you can't put so much sugar on a piece of poop. And right now, this really looks like the king of the Mardi Gras, if you will, parade.
Well, right now, I want to remind our watchers what the Republican Party legislative priorities are. Now, we use the word priority to mean the literal sense of what it means, priority. But at some point when that word priority hits Austin, at least since I've been in politics, that word changes and it becomes nuanced, and it means preference or afterthought or something or whatever. It doesn't mean priority in Austin. And so we're trying to push that issue right now. And we've already hit sort of what came to loggerheads already just when the rules started, which we'll get into in a minute. But let me remind our voters, our watchers, of what the legislative priorities are. Protect elections. Right now, there are over 317 bills, pieces of legislation having to do with elections. And not all of those are going to be good bills. The Republicans are really going to have to be on their game looking at what is what on these election bills. Are they watering down our election processes, or are they making them more secure? So protect our elections is number one on the legislative priorities. Now, these legislative priorities, let me back up a little bit, were formulated at the convention, the Republican Party of Texas convention that was held in Houston a few months back. What they do is the whole entire congregation there comes together and they vote on these legislative priorities, and they put them in terms of an order of what those in attendance were in support of. So the number one was protect our elections. And there's no doubt that that comes out of what happened in 2020. And people are very concerned about elections in this country. So we don't slide into this settling problems with the bullet box instead of the ballot box. So election integrity is huge. Number two, secure the border and protect Texans. Open border has been a big issue for a long time. Our governor announces every now and then, I've secured the border, I've done this. And then Walter West or somebody's down on the border shooting videos of the Mexicans just streaming across. So the border has not been secured in a very long time, and it needs to be secured. So secure the border and protect Texans. Number three, ban gender modification of children. This was a very contentious issue because of some of the maneuvering that was done by Dade Phelan and some of the others. It felt like they were trying to stymie that discussion about banning gender modification, which I'll let the rest of the crew talk to you about that in just a minute after I get through the rest of these. But that's a big one right now, is banning the gender modification of children. Tired of drugging and mutilating the children in Texas. It should be something that all of us stand up against. But apparently when there's money involved and politics involved, it's not as simple for some as it is for me and Walter and some of the Sandra. Number four, stop sexualizing Texas kids. Here in Montgomery County, we were trying to get a citizen on the board, the review board of the book, so we can take that out of the hands totally of the school board in reviewing what books, because the books that are on the shelves in some of these libraries that our kids are exposed to are straight up pornography, and they're disgusting. And if you read them in public, you'd probably go to jail. But yet our kids are exposed to them under the exception within the penal code, I guess, of indecency instruction or whatever the hell they call it. So we're trying to get that fixed. Hopefully we'll get some legislation to take care of that. Ban Democrat chairs was a huge one. That's number five. I think over 80% of the 8,000 or 10,000, whatever the number was, people at the convention wanted to ban Democrat chairs because Democrat chairs get in there and they just log jam all the conservative legislation, and it doesn't get through. We run out of time. It gets, not put on the calendars and slow walk through. And all of a sudden, oh gosh, we ran out of time. We had a similar fight, if you recall, Sandra, with concealed carry, and we were calling people and aggravating them, saying it's not going to work this time. We're going to hang it around your neck. And lo and behold, it finally got done. But it takes that kind of activism to make things happen. Rachel Malone was a huge part of that. Gun Owners of America. Thank you, Rachel.
It's funny that you bring her up. Walter just spoke to her the other day.
I got a few more. We only got 8 legislative parties. Abolish abortion in Texas. That's a big one. We say abolish abortion in Texas, and that's what we want to do. And then you have some Republicans say, well, yeah, we want to abolish it in all cases except. Well, that's not abolishing abortion. All means all, right? So we want to abolish abortion in Texas. Number 7, defend our gun rights. Look, I'm happy that we took a step towards constitutional carry, but what we have is not constitutional carry. That bill should have been presented before the Texas legislature, where one of the members stood up and said, hey, I'll have a bill to discuss about Second Amendment rights. As to the Second Amendment, we should all concur. Can I get a vote? And that should have been the end of it, instead of the multi-page monster they put out there, which is really a list of all the places that you can't carry. You have constitutional carry, Sandra. You just can't carry it in all these places listed on all these pages in this bill. It's ridiculous. And the last one is parental rights and education freedom. What a crazy idea that parents should actually know what their kids are being taught and have access to that information and have a say in it. That's crazy, isn't it, Sandra? But that's our 8 legislative priorities.
Crazy concept. Why in the world would parents want to be involved?
Now I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can talk about the gender thing that happened with the kids, and you can talk about obviously the some of the stuff the speaker did. You can talk about what was the other one we had? The ban Democrat chairs was a big one, and you just said you talked to Rachel Malone, so the floor is yours. Go.
It's a little broken on my end listening to you. I don't know if it's the same. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you're very clear. You're
okay.
Clear.
With all of the stuff going on overhead, lots of helicopters, of course, extra security, a lot of it.
Now you've dropped off, Sandra. I guess they hit you with an electromagnetic pulse. So we'll get her back in a moment. Apparently, if you weren't paying attention to what was happening in Austin, when they were calling the House into session, they were supposed to have a rules making process going on for the House. And
Worse, Simon, it's the Texas Rangers. It's the Texas Rangers
okay,
that got
well, you got it back now. So go ahead.
the signal. We're trying to get another phone feed to work also, so that we can have some roaming interviews and stuff. But it's the overall signal here is just crap, as you can imagine. But they have to keep it going, I think, to an extent. The president's not here; it's just Abbott, so I don't think that we're going to get the full blockers like we usually get. But the signal is low. Whatever we can't bring to you live, we're gonna put this little baby in John's capable hands, and then we'll do what we can, if nothing else, for some fun stuff for tomorrow, to let you guys know what happened. Of course, also don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be inside of the state capitol. Senator Bob Hall is releasing a movie, a documentary movie with Dennis Quaid. It's called Grid Down, Power Up. And that's going to be exciting. We're honored to be a part of that as well, to bring you guys the latest and greatest that's happening in Texas. But as I said, it is kind of a festive atmosphere. It should be an exciting day. I remember when I was little, we used to always, I say little until I was a grown up and moved away from home, we would always go to Washington, D.C. on Inauguration Day. We would always be a part of the parades and all of the festivities and stuff, regardless if it was a Republican or a Democrat president that was being sat. Because it was part of our history. It's who we are as a country, and we should come together. It's still, this is the elected official that is been chosen by the masses. So I'll say it that way. See, I'm still being nice. And you should be able to take part of this. I remember when the one that I remember the most was when George W. Bush became president the first time. And I remember my granddad took all of us up there. My granddad was always a Democrat. At least that's what he'd always told us. And he took all of us up there. And then George and Barbara were walking down the road. They were still walking. They weren't riding in a car. And they were waving to people. It was a really great memory. And it was something that, my granddad had all of his grandkids at the time there. And it was something special. My grandma grew up in Washington, D.C., so she remembers all of the presidents coming through. And we are absolutely not getting any signal on this other phone. I think it's because it's hosting this. Try it on my other phone. It's in the bag. Yeah. We're having a lot of signal problems over here, as you can imagine.
Well, you're coming through clear. Okay, well, I guess
don't jinx it, John. Don't jinx it. Let me grab this other phone really quick. Yeah, it's when we were trying to. I think it was because we were trying to host both of them. The
Capitol has always been bad with communication with the people.
He's not wrong, folks. He's not wrong.
No, he's not. I'm curious to see what is going to happen.
The roaming photographer.
I'm curious to see what's going to happen this legislative session. I'm seeing some attacks on the Freedom Caucus by people I wouldn't expect it to come from now, and I think it's because maybe those people are standing up for what's right and embarrassing the people that should be standing up for what's right. What do you think, Sandra?
Yes.
Is that a fair assessment?
Every third word, but no, I think. Say that again.
So is that a fair assessment? Can you hear me?
No, I hear like every third word.
Okay, then I'll try and. I don't know what.
Okay, now you're clear.
What I said was I'm seeing the Freedom Caucus has taken some fire from some unusual suspects. And I wonder if that's because they're standing up for the things that are embarrassing those who should be standing up for those things. What do you think?
No, I think that you're absolutely correct. I think that they're one of the things that we saw, and I made the comment on it when all this stuff was happening in the U.S. House. Marjorie Taylor Greene looked like she was just getting her toe stomped on when I can't remember who it was that was up giving a nomination for anybody but Kevin McCarthy. And you could just see her like, yeah, he has kind of been a crap bag, but I'm going to still support him because he's my crap bag. And we're seeing the same thing happen here in the Texas House. You see where your typical fighters are not doing what they should be doing. And I think that they do feel a little bit of guilt and remorse from it. But at the end of the day, they made promises. They made deals with their own devils to make sure that they could get where they needed to be. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the session's going to go. Are they going to allow that guilt to get the best of them, or are they going to actually do something about it and do the right thing, which is why they were supposed to be part of the Freedom Caucus?
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Has anybody got any more insight on if anything's happening with her and McCarthy at all? Do you know, Sandra? Hello? I guess so.
Hi, puppy.
So Sandra's going
We
to play
have a
with
basset
the
puppy who came over to say hello.
Sandra's going to play with the puppy now. Okay, Sandra. What is going on here? So Marjorie Taylor Greene and this guy, McCarthy, all of a sudden got really close, Sandra. I have no idea what happened with that, but apparently, in a strange twist, Marjorie Taylor Greene, looked like she went from Tea Party to establishment at breakneck speed and started attacking all the Freedom Caucus people, which really surprised many of us. But we'll see what happens with McCarthy right now. He has made a lot of deals to get the Freedom Caucus people to go along with him so he could get elected speaker, or at least to get them to vote present so he could be allowed to be elected speaker with only 216 votes. But he did get there. He is the speaker now, and we'll see if he keeps his word. I wonder, though, if he's going to try and exact revenge on Lauren Boebert and some of the others, Matt Gaetz, for holding him up. We'll see. But the deals they made, Sandra, as we mentioned on the show before, were things that should have been common sense and as a matter of practice anyway. Having 72 hours to read a multi-thousand-page bill was a good start. Having a balanced budget, crazy stuff like that, Sandra. What do you think? Sandra's like, I can't hear you. I'm just going to stay here on screen and text on my phone. And look strangely at the camera.
I heard text on my phone.
Okay. I don't know. Sandra, can you hear me at all? Can you hear me?
Well, now I can hear you again.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. So we were trying to use separate devices entirely so that nothing was on the same network, and it's still not working out. Let's try and hear somewhere.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Simon, they better leave my girlfriend alone. Marjorie Taylor Greene. We'll see how she votes. I mean, that's in the end, that's really what's the important thing, isn't it? Speaking of voting, last night we had a Montgomery County Tea Party meeting. Kenneth Ernest gave a presentation. I will confess I wasn't in the room for his presentation because I was talking water issues with the memory of the Central Water Development Board out of Houston. Got sat down at the table with him inside of the venue. Ended up talking to him for a couple of hours about water issues. But he gave that, and our representative, from what I understood, Steve Toth, was supposed to be there to talk about his focus in the House and what was happening with the rules and the speaker, et cetera, et cetera. But at the last minute, he said he couldn't make it. He went to Austin. So he's in Austin now. I'm told there was some discussion about Steve Toth. Not sure what all that was about. Sandra, you were there, but since you can't hear me and you're just looking goofy, glancing around, like you're autistic or something, I don't know that we're going to get anything out of you on that.
Okay, great. Now I heard that part. That was fantastic.
Okay.
I'm glad to see I'm looking autistic today.
What was that? What was that show that Jodie Foster was in?
I have the right look.
Willow or something. What was that show Jodie Foster was in? So
I have been abandoned of the people that we love. By the way, I'm standing here by myself, looking like a weirdo with the laptop in the middle of this situation, and y'all can't even hear me, or I can't hear you, or both.
Sandra's. Pat says, "Be nice, John." Oh, okay.
It's a group.
I got to be nice. Yeah, but so last night Steve was supposed to talk about that. Listen, I'm just going to be honest with you. Look, I'm a Christian. I'm going to tell you something right now. We are in a period of spiritual warfare right now. I can feel it all around me. I talked to Steve about this. He called. He was madder than a wet hen at some people, and I got other conservatives calling me that are mad at him, and everybody's mad at everybody right now. And I think we need to take a deep breath, step back, and really just engage in prayer, get in the spirit, engage in prayer for a bit, because we are under spiritual attack right now with everything that's happening. And usually those attacks come at a time when good things are about to happen, because the devil don't like that. So just keep being in prayer about that right now, because my spirit is really disturbed about everything I'm seeing right now. I actually got an email this morning from our wayward chairman sending it out to voters. And I'm just calling him Lion Brian at this point, because that's what he is. He's Lion Brian. And he sent out a bunch of information to the voters of this county. Pretty much every line of his email he sent out was not true. And he knows it's not true. But this is what they do. Misinformation is what they do. And so, I mean, he made it sound as if members of the Freedom Caucus were the minority in the party, which they're not. They are the majority. He even acknowledged that in negotiations with the RPT. He knows we're the majority of the party. But what he did was he sent this out implying that there's an upcoming indictment, and comparing it to a situation that happened in another county, which it's apples and oranges, and he knows it. But that's not leadership. And this has been the problem all along. And, we keep hearing people say, well, why don't y'all just get together and outvote him? Well, because y'all don't understand what's going on here is this guy doesn't pay attention to any rules. Every time he's outvoted, he just pretends like it didn't happen. And so there are lawyers involved now, and it's sad because money that's being used for attorney's fees could have been used for get out the vote effort. But because the RPT, I believe, abdicated their responsibilities and allowed this guy to keep lying to voters and dividing the party and twisting the rules, that now it's escalated to a court situation, which is sad, but that's what happened. So we're still awaiting the Secretary of State, all the criminal complaints and election code violation complaints against our chairman to be adjudicated there. Meanwhile, the majority of the party marches on and continues to do the work, while our chairman and his minority faction continue to sow division and confusion in the party and cause all kind of trouble. Let me see if I can add to the stream here. I see Rachel Hissler. Can you hear me, Rachel? And she can't hear me either, but I can change. I just got to remove her from the stream for now, I guess. Apparently, they're trying to get all their technical difficulties worked out in Austin, because I'm really interested to see if they get to talk to some of these people up there. And I got to tell you, some of the statesmen that I really appreciated that were in Austin for a long time, Matt Rinaldi, who's now the chair of the state party, Jonathan Stickland out of Bedford, those guys are catching a lot of heat too. What happened? I mean, really, what happened? Oh, I got conservatives telling me that Stickland's not what I think he is, and I got other people calling me complaining about Rinaldi. And I'm not in those guys' shoes, so I don't know what they're dealing with. I just know how they were when they were in Austin and the things that they did, and I appreciated the things that they stood up for. Did Sandra ask for donations to cover her travel expenses to Austin? I don't know. Like I said, I was out of the room for all that. Speech to text. Can you hear me, Rachel? That's good stuff. This is not exactly quality Texas Fully Loaded today because we were expecting to have some remote interviews from Austin, but obviously we're having a problem with that right now. So this legislative session, I'm hoping that our legislators will get focused on the legislative priorities of the party, but the only way that happens is if you contact your legislators, because the squeaky wheel does get the grease, unfortunately. Every election, every cycle, every legislative session, when we don't get things we want, it's mostly because the minority has been in the ear of all these legislators. Now think about it. You go to Austin, you get elected by your conservative base that works hard to put you there, and you want certain things, and then they don't hear from you the whole time you're there. So all you're getting is bombarded every day with the nutcases knocking on your door, telling you what they want, writing you letters, threatening you, harassing you in the hallways, etc. And the people that voted you in office that want you to do certain things, they've ghosted you and they've just left you there. So it is easy to get influence. We see it with the school board quite a bit here, the local school board. We elected conservative to the school board. My friend Dale Inman was on the school board, was getting outvoted every time. They would have people show up at the time for public comment and just eviscerate him, call him every name in the book. And he just had to sit there and take it. And he would tell me, John, it's hard because all you guys are supposed to support me. You and only a couple of others ever show up and defend me. Because I understand why people vote the way they do. So we need to do a better job as a grassroots of not just working to get people elected, but supporting them while they're in office and praying for them and encouraging them. Because it is a thankless job when you're constantly getting assaulted and insulted and your family attacked, etc. When you're in office because you're not voting the way that the mob wants you to vote. Let me see if I can get Rachel back in here, see if she can hear me now. Rachel, can you hear me now?
I can hear you a little bit, John. It's really garbled, but how are you?
I'm doing fine. Go ahead and talk. Tell us what's going on in Austin. Tell us what's going on.
So right now, people are continuing to gather. They've got, the bands playing, all of the patriotic and just old familiar songs. And it looks like it's starting to fill up. Things are going according to plan. I mean, we couldn't ask for a more beautiful day, that's for sure. It's gorgeous out here.
What is your goal for being here? What do you hope to accomplish by being here, Rachel? Why are you there?
So here today, I hope to stand and represent grassroots Texans who expect our elected officials to come to this Capitol and do the things that they campaigned on, that we elected them on. We didn't elect them to come up here and just play the game or come up here and get along to go along. We expect them to follow the rules. We expect them to be respectful of us whenever we come to their offices to communicate with them, whether it be to encourage them or to let them know that they didn't vote the way that they told us that they would. I think it's about communication. It's about relationship.
Do you think there's a big grassroots presence there right now, Rachel? If you can hear me, is there a big grassroots presence there?
I
don't guess you can hear me. Is there a big grassroots presence there? Okay.
Yes. Well, it looks like a lot of grassroots people here to me.
Okay.
Of course, I'm out here in the perimeter. I'm not in the VIP area, the ticketed area. So these are definitely the grassroots people out here on the perimeter.
Well, you're a VIP to me, Rachel. It was good to see you last night at the Tea Party meeting. What did you think?
Yes, that was great.
What did you think about it? I got tied up inside talking with a guy about water issues because I serve on the water, most about groundwater.
It was really breaking up, so I didn't catch all of that. But I will tell you that I really appreciated what the speaker had to say, the topic he spoke on last night, specifically the ESG standards and the groupthink that we are being forced and coerced into about environmental, social, and governance issues, that stakeholder capitalism. Those are all terms that people need to get informed about. I did see that one of the senators is proposing legislation that would work against ESG in the state of Texas. So I think that's something that we all need to be aware of and need to be speaking to our representatives about, that we don't want that in Texas. We want to be like our friends in Florida, where woke comes to die.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? For those of you watching the show, the ESG rating is a very dangerous thing, because used to be you would look at a company's strength based on their stock performance and all just economic things, and you would invest accordingly into that. Well, now the government has put their thumb on the scale with this ESG rating, which is a measurement of that company's security performance with respect to their environmental, social, and their governance issues. So it looks more than just at economic performance. It actually seeks to affect the economic performance by slapping an ESG rating on them to say, hey, this company is not really responsible, and kind of a government smear job on them to try and hamstring them a little bit while they're running their company. And it scares people from investing in them. So this ESG rating thing is absolutely evil. And that's what Kenneth Ernest, the speaker, was talking about last night, was governments, they couldn't get you on climate change. So now they seek to interfere with businesses to influence them to go along with this green agenda and this wokeness culture through this ESG rating. So the devil is at work. If your legislator is supporting an ESG rating, you need a new legislator. Let's see if I can get Rachel back. All right, Rachel, you're back. There's a lot less noise now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Maybe not. Mute. Yeah, I can't mute her mic. Oh, it's for some reason it only allows me to take her out of the stream. So that's your ESG rating. That's what's happening with that on the big level, and I'm sure that's going to be a huge topic at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, which is going on right now. Which you could live stream that right now, also. And again, the theme of that is cooperation in a fragmented world. Well, stop fragmenting it. Well, we are fragmented world, actually, when I think about it, because we all have our own sovereignty of our nations, our own traditions, our own cultures, etc. And cooperation in a fragmented world, I guess, was a better title than globalization of the world. That's what they're trying to do. And now I don't understand what will.i.am, the guy from Black Eyed Peas, speaking there about. I don't know what could he possibly have to say on all this. And Greta Thunberg, as I said, this child they look at as being so brilliant, she's going to be there. So I don't know. The whole damn world's falling apart right now, it would seem. Let me see what else is happening in this crazy world we live in. I saw that what was it? Oh, Hunter Biden, that's heating up again. Apparently there was a check in the amount of, let me pull this up. It's a breaking story, just happened a few minutes ago. There was a $49,910 rent payment check that was in the exact same amount Hunter Biden received from a rental deposit linked to his business venture with CEFC China Energy Company. And the person commenting on it says, yeah, the media will just call this a coincidence that it's in the exact same amount. Look, it's not a matter of whether the Biden family is doing all this stuff. It's just a matter of will social media platforms such as this be able to drown out big media and big tech's efforts to squelch this kind of stuff. The BBC was recently involved in colluding. They had something with Yahoo, I think, and other big tech and news agencies. They came together and said, we have to shut down all these web-based purveyors of information because we want to shut them down because we don't want quote unquote misinformation. And of course, we know they call it misinformation if it disagrees with the narrative that they've established to further their goals. And so this is out there. This is already happening right now. And we mentioned Joe Rogan had over 12 million viewers right now, where that's more than CNN, Fox, NBC, all of them combined. So it's a real threat, this online media thing. So I look for any day for them to try and pass more legislation. I remember the Fairness Doctrine way back when. I don't know how many of you remember that. Back in the 90s, I believe it was a Fairness Doctrine. And what they wanted to do was every time Rush Limbaugh would come on the radio and talk about things that were happening that the American people needed to be aware of, they wanted to require that Rush Limbaugh turn over radio time to somebody to come in right after him to refute it all. And Rush Limbaugh said, fine, I'm happy to do that. Give me the same opportunity to do that with the news agencies. And they go, no, they're actually news agencies. So they want to set a different standard of rules. So you're going to see that happening now. They're going to make a different standard of rules for webcasts, and we're going to have to probably get all kind of disclaimers and all kind of filters. And, you know, you have to sign up permission. I'm giving them ideas. That's what they're going to do. They're going to make you have to sign up for permission to log our webcast and jump through a bunch of hoops. Meanwhile, they'll just be spewing all their garbage and stuff through the mainstream media and big tech into your ears and our children's ears. I did hear something the other day that said, you know, one of the former person who worked for Mike Pence said people are going to have to, Republicans 35 and under are all on board with same-sex marriage and climate change. So Republicans are going to need to embrace that. I think that's BS. I think it's total BS. And we need to push back on that. Because once they say, well, this is accepted, everybody knows this. Unfortunately, we have a sheep mentality with a lot of people that go, oh, okay, it's just accepted then. Everybody knows it. No, we need to push back against that. Same-sex marriage is not, no, it's just not something that we all accept, that our kids accept. What's it? I saw Matt Walsh's show. He played a clip of The View where they were on there talking about, well, yeah, that's not even in the Bible. The Bible doesn't say anything against same-sex marriage and certainly doesn't say anything against homosexuality. And one of the ladies even said, I swear to you, this is true. She said, if Jesus Christ was here today, he'd be leading the pride parade. This is how ridiculous these people are. Of course, the Bible says nothing about homosexuality except for all the places where it says it's against it. It says it's an abomination. I know it's in Leviticus. I think it's in multiple places in the Bible. But, but they say this and people just go, oh, it's not in the Bible. And then they repeat it. So anyway, we've got to push back. Let me see if I can get, they're still off the stream right now. So, has anybody else watched Matt Walsh's What is a Woman? That is a fascinating movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. You need to watch it. It's online. It's on the Daily Wire. You can watch it there. He goes around and talks to these doctors. Now, when I was a kid, and probably when you were a kid, when you were younger, when somebody would say, this person's a doctor, you just automatically afforded them a level of respect and trust. When somebody would say, this guy's a lawyer, you afforded them this esteem that they were intelligent, highly intelligent, ethical people. When someone would say, this person's a law enforcement officer, you would afford them that respect and that assumption that they were of high integrity. Or when someone would say, that guy's a veteran, you would say, man, that's awesome. I have such pride for knowing this person, for being a veteran and sacrificing so much. But we see how that's been twisted now. And we see how that trust with many has been misplaced. And sadly, it besmirches the reputations of those who also carry those titles when someone does things that we find objectionable. And we see this with our congressman. I mean, I saw Dan Crenshaw get elected basically just because everybody said, he's a disabled veteran. We all need to vote for this guy. What a great American he is. And I got to tell you, I had high hopes for the guy. I really did. But the more I get to know him, the less I like the guy. I mean, he's very thin-skinned and arrogant, and he gets real defensive, and his temperament is just horrible. And I don't like the way he stands in front of people and tries to gauge the audience and see what he needs to say to please the audience. I don't like that. I don't like that he's attacking the Freedom Caucus now because that's what it seems like to do. Calls them a bunch of grifters and etc. I don't like all that. I think that loses focus on the important things in our government right now. And he's going to need to do better, and I hope he will do better. And I plan on having that same conversation with Morgan Luttrell, because I have high hopes for Morgan Luttrell too. He hasn't done anything to let me down yet. He did vote for McCarthy. I did talk to him about that. Along with 215 other people, he voted for McCarthy because he really believes that the deals that they made were important to have a better government. We'll see if McCarthy keeps those deals or if they get watered down. I'm certainly not as optimistic as he is on any of that. But let me go ahead and see if I can do a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Let me see if I got one. We'll try this.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
And we're back. See if I can get Rachel back in here. And I'm going to start live streaming the World Economic Forum. Henry Kissinger is speaking there now. But let me see if I can get Rachel back in here.
Hey,
Rachel,
I'm back.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
I think
so
we
what's
might have
going on
gotten
there?
a better signal
Give us the
now.
rundown. Give us the rundown.
Okay, so they have ceased with the music for now, so I think we're about getting ready to start. Maybe for once something is going to start on time.
So what's going to happen? So what is going to happen?
Well, I've worn my dark funeral clothing today. Oh, yes, here we go. They're asking for our attention.
The oath of office ceremony will begin in approximately 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah, here we go.
So this is a
So,
swearing in
yeah.
ceremony, correct?
Yes, that's right. So the governor and the lieutenant governor, I believe, will both be sworn in, fully installed and inaugurated today officially. Lots of people here. And like I said earlier, you know, there's obviously a VIP area, and then the rest of it, the grounds are open to the public who would like to attend. And so I feel like, you know, we got a lot of grassroots people out here in the surrounding perimeter area.
Okay. You seeing any of our reps out there on the grounds, or are they all inside the building?
No, I've not seen any reps out here on the grounds yet, but I did see a few when I was inside of the Capitol before I came out here. So, I mean, they're definitely here today. Their staffs were in their offices. So maybe they're going to come down here and just be a part of the main ceremony, but hopefully they're working.
Well, hopefully, yeah. And there's a lot of work to do for sure. I don't really like the way they do business here in Austin. Even when it benefits me, I don't like it. I was talking to one about a bill recently, and they go, "We just slipped that into another bill and probably go under the radar unnoticed." And I'm like, you know, I don't like that. I think you just described the problem with Austin.
Right. It needs to be above board. It needs to be transparent and intentional.
Yeah, and what we get too often is, like we see right now with the banned Democrat chairs. And just to let everybody in on the argument, here's what the argument is. Brian Slayton put forth a bill, a rule change to ban Democrat chairs. Steve Toth also put that rule change forward, ban Democrat chairs, but he had a second rule change that said ban Democrat chairs from key committees. Now, there's two schools of thought on that. One is you just go all out and all in on banning Democrat chairs. The problem with that is if it fails, you get nothing. Nothing. So then if that fails, then you go to the fallback rule, which is ban Democrat chairs from key committees, which is what eventually passed from what I understand. The grassroots people at the convention voted, the Republicans at the convention voted, whatever that number was. I hear it varied 8 to 10,000. I heard 5,000 plus once. I heard 8,000. I heard I was up to 10. Whatever. The many thousands of Republicans that were at the convention voted overwhelmingly, over 80%, that they wanted to ban Democrat chairs. And as we mentioned earlier, that's because Democrat chairs, a chairman of a committee has a lot of control and can logjam legislation and make sure it never sees the light of day, it never gets out, and they can run out the clock and go, "Oh, gee, sorry, we ran out of time, darn." They can do that, and so we wanted to ban Democrat chairs because it helps us have a better chance of getting conservative legislation passed. That didn't happen. So not only did it not happen, but the speaker moved up the vote on that issue, that very key issue, to the day before, because there were many, I don't know, hundreds, maybe thousands of grassroots people headed to Austin with their shirts on that said ban Democrat chairs. And they didn't want the spectacle of sticking a thumb in the eye of the grassroots people by voting that down on the floor when the gallery was packed with these people in these red shirts saying ban Democrat chairs and expecting our Republican legislators to do that. So people are a little salty at some of the legislators for not going all out. I talked to Steve Toth about this issue, and he made a video which he put out, which, maybe I should play that video on the show. Maybe you guys would get a kick out of her. Maybe I won't. Oh, Cassandra and them, I didn't ask them about it, and that'd be nice that we would talk about it before I do something like that. But he talked about, in his video, he talks about the history of how chairs were selected. But again, history's fine, but you need to have a current perspective to consider when making these decisions. For example, do you think if the Democrats had the control of the House, if they were the Speaker of the House, that they would be so excited about appointing Republican chairs to key committees or to any committees? Oh, the answer is simple. It's no, they would not be concerned about that. In fact, every time Republicans have bent over backwards to make concessions to Democrats and accommodate them, and then when the shoe was on the other foot, you saw them basically just give you the finger and say, well, we're in charge now. We're going to do what we want. So that consideration is not reciprocal by any means. So the Democrats will have chairs, supposedly not on key committees. What are key committees? Not really sure how that works, but we'll see. But that was a big issue. And there was another thing that essentially they said gender issues. I don't know how they rigged the system, but basically if you bring up child gender modification issues, it'll be considered out of order with any bill or whatever, however they do that. So that rule has been put in place where you can't do that now. I am going to have to take a quick commercial break. I am sorry. No, I won't actually. I have to return that call. But yeah, so right now, grassroots people are feeling like we've been played a little bit because we express these things. We want these things. We send our legislators up there, and then they go, oh, darn, we messed up. We'll get it next time. And we keep seeing this happen. And we're doing some of this with the Republican Party of Texas right now, quite honestly, with regards to the election of county chairs by the county executive committee. It's a private organization. That's who should elect their leadership. The state party knows this. It's in their platform. It's plank 248. They agree with this. The Republicans at the convention overwhelmingly agreed with this. And yet, when you talk to the Republican Party of Texas leadership, they'll say, yeah, we definitely agree with that. We're going to fix that at the convention. But for you guys watching, and this is important for you to know, you can't fix that at the convention. The reason you can't fix that at the convention is because the debate is over with by the convention. The primary happens in May, and the convention is sometime after that. So you can't go back in time. You don't have a time machine that you're going to be able to go back in time and make that retroactive. I mean, can you imagine the number of lawsuits you would have by county chairs? And right now, I think there's over 40, I've been told, that are going rogue right now and basically telling the RPT we can do whatever we want. We're elected, so your rules don't matter and you can't enforce them. But imagine the lawsuits that would cause if at the convention in San Antonio, when it comes up in June or July, whenever it is, and we say, hey, okay, for this biennium, for this 2-year period, we're making our rules that say county chairs are elected by their respective CECs. So go back and elect your county chair. And the people that were elected county chair go, hold on a minute, I was already elected in May. You can't do that. I'm suing. And so then you're mired in lawsuits for the next however long. And then by the time you get through the lawsuits, guess what? The biennium's over because it's only for 2 years. That's what the rules are for. So you can't write it for the next biennium for the county chair because the rules are only good for that one. So you see, you're always stuck in this lag time problem. You can't make it retroactive. So I'm trying to get them to fix that. And I came up with 3 solutions. And hopefully we'll get some traction. I have been communicating with the chairman of the state party and a couple of different legislators about this. Number 1, the 3 option would be allow the CEC to elect the county chair, which is consistent with RPT plank 248, which reads, the Republican Party of Texas operations, plank 248. We support the election of Republican county chairs by their respective county executive committees where they exist. We support removing the Republican Party of Texas from the election code. Pretty simple. When they did the rulemaking process at the Republican Party of Texas convention, At the last convention, they removed all references to the Texas Election Code out of their rules because they want to disengage from the Texas Election Code because the Republican Party of Texas is a private organization, period. Second solution. So the first one would be allow the CEC to elect them. Second solution, if you don't want to do that, allow for the CEC and or the state party to remove county chairs when they go rogue and violate party rules. Right now, we have over 40 county chairs going rogue right now. And this saps the time, energy, and resources of the state and local parties fighting this. Thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours are dedicated to combating these rogue chairs. Now, these rogue chairs get in because these counties realize the power of the Republican Party name in getting elected. So you have nefarious people who give large sums of money to the campaigns of people that they can control to get them elected to the county chair. And so they get into the office of the county chair, the CEC votes for something, and the county chair goes, no, I'm not doing that. And the CEC goes, you have to. They go, no, I don't. What can you do about it? And you go to the state party and they go, yeah, that's, you guys kind of handle that. And you go to Secretary of State, they go, well, we'll look at it eventually, maybe, and, good luck. And then everybody kind of goes, well, it'll be just 2 years. Y'all can just vote them out and go next time. And then you start all over again with the same problem. So you have over 40 county chairs doing this right now for various reasons. And so we got to get past that. So number one solution is let the CEC elect them. Number two is at least allow a mechanism in the legislation to remove them when they do this. The state party should have that right. I think you would agree. Or number three, just make the TEC, the Texas Election Code, consistent with the RBT rules by removing the election of the county chair from it altogether. So just have our legislators say, hey, that whole section 171 where it says how the county executive committee is comprised, just strike the whole damn thing out and get it out of there. That'll be consistent with what we said in Plank 248, where we don't want to be part of the election code. We just take it all out. Now that would make sense. So I'm trying to get the guys to do this. I gave them 3 options. This is just some guy in Montgomery County giving them these options, but I think that's the best way to go to get this taken care of. Hopefully they will. We'll see what happens. Let me see if I can go back to Sandra and them, see if I can get them back on the stream here. Hang on a second. Hey, Sandra. I'm trying to unmute your mic and I can't. You have control of your mic. I don't, so I can't unmute your mic. It has to be you. There you go.
Hey,
Gotcha
we're brand new around here. So I don't know if you guys can see, but everything is now formally started. So I don't know if we want to see if we can try and make that a thing or not. But
Yeah, do it.
they're announcing people from the stage. They just announced our very own Brandon Creighton. Of course, a good friend of Walt's and SD4. Whoop, whoop.
Let me have one, honey.
So I believe they've already done the presenting of colors and everything. And now the service itself is getting ready to kick off.
Cool.
Actually, can you hear the announcer?
Yes.
The Speaker of the Texas House of Representatives, Dave Phelan and Kim Phelan.
Boo.
You notice they announced his wife with him. You know why, right?
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Because she has his balls in her purse?
No, because that's when Cornyn walked out on stage with his wife that time. He was anticipating he might get booed, so he brought his wife
That's
out
true.
on the stage with him at the convention.
Governor Dan Patrick and Jan Patrick.
Much larger applause to Dean.
You look like a freaking... I'm waiting for you guys to... Can you see better now, John?
I see it. Fine.
Is it a boombox or a laptop? Nobody knows. I'm holding you guys above my head. The things we do for press around here. Because none of the phones are picking up our signal.
Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Greg Abbott And the First Lady of Texas, Cecilia Abbott. Please stand as members of the Marine Military Academy from Carleton, Texas.
Okay, hold on a second. Now.
You see, Sandra, can you hear me?
Mhm.
I think
Yes.
another issue that's kind of flying under the radar, but Bonnie Lyons, who's the legislative chair of the Montgomery County Republican Party, is talking about right now, and that's gambling in Texas. I went to a meeting one night where they were surveying, talk about gambling in Texas. Now, I don't believe that we should have daddy government. It bothers me when people say, well, we shouldn't have gambling because people are irresponsible. And that's entirely true. It is entirely true. I'm more concerned about gambling. Being from New Orleans, I saw all the criminal element that goes along with it. Everything that comes along with gambling is a major problem. And it will affect the quality of living of Texas residents, I'm sure. And they asked me what I thought. I said, just put it on a boat and put it offshore, and I think everybody's happy. If somebody wants to go on a cruise and go gambling, that's up to them. I don't care. The problem you have with that is the proverbial nose of the camel under the tent. Because in New Orleans, when they said, okay, we'll put it on river boats, that's where it'll be. Well, one on the river boat, and then the river boat used to go out and you could gamble. It would go up and down the river. And then all of a sudden the boat was docked forever. And the boat doesn't move anymore. Now it's just a docked boat. And then all of a sudden they go, well, we already have a boat that's docked, that's a casino. So it's like just a building. So we might as well have a building. And there you go. Now you have gambling all over New Orleans because that was the slippery slope.
Hey, I don't know if y'all can hear, but Tanya Tucker is fixing to do the national anthem.
Let's hear old Tanya Tucker do it. They should have let you sing it, Sandra.
They should have. Missed opportunities.
Except they didn't want the crowd to leave.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Tanya Tucker, ladies
There you
and
have that.
Tanya Tucker.
Now let's play Texas politics. Get it instead of let's play ball. Let's play. Sometimes I feel like my jokes are wasted. Hurts a little bit.
Tanya Tucker used to be really kind of smoking hot, wasn't she, at one time?
Yeah, I think she was.
I think, here you go. I got a picture of Tanya Tucker way back in the day. This was Tanya Tucker way back in the day.
The Pledge of Allegiance to the Texas flag.
He wasn't ugly. Let me say that.
For the rest of the nation, you're welcome. You get to see what a real pledge looks like. Just kidding. Pledge to the greatest. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Most states, surprisingly, don't have, if they have a state pledge, they don't use it and people don't know it. But here in Texas, we're proud of our state pledge and we use it often.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Please remain
Well-
standing as the Spirit of Houston Cougar Marching Band performs Texas, Our Texas.
Now, our anthem, unfortunately, is a little bit more like a college football fight song. And not everybody knows the words, much like a college football fight song. But what are you going to do? You know at least enough to keep it along.
Yeah, I guess I was waiting for Deep in the Heart of Texas. I always thought that was our song, Sandra.
That should have been our song, John. You know what? It can be our song, John.
Yeah, here you go. Well, while so what's going on now, Sandra? Because I got some information here. I want to get out, but I want to make sure we.
Now they've just put the House and the Senate into quorum, and they're doing the official business of the oath of office.
Okay, well You want
Pastor Randy Weaver is doing.
Okay. Well, while we're at it, can I talk about Kyle Rittenhouse a little bit?
You can go right ahead.
Okay. So, folks, we had an event planned here in Montgomery County, the Rally Against Censorship. Was being hosted by Defiance Press and Publishing. Dave Roberts' company does a lot of patriotic books, a big donor. And so they scheduled this meeting at Southern Star Brewery here in Montgomery County. I'm going to mute your mics, Andrew, if I may. I can't mute your mics. I could remove you from. Can you? Thank you. Thank you. So Defiance Press, Dave Roberts, the big political donor, was going to hold this event at Southern Star Brewery in Montgomery County. Now, Southern Star Brewery, a year or two ago, hosted the event, Daniel Miller's event for Texit. I was at that event. I was at several events. I've gone to several events at Southern Star Brewery. In fact, we even hosted an event with Red Zone Politics there, and Dale Inman and I. But when this event came up, Southern Star booked it, had it on their calendar for January 26, 2023. And then the woke mob started calling them, and they canceled the event. And the rumor was, and I heard a recording of allegedly one of the employees saying that HEB, which accounts for about 60% of Southern Star's business, told them if they hold the event, then they would pull all their business from them. I'm not sure if that's true. That's what the recording said. That's what Mr. Roberts alleges. But in any event, Southern Star Brewery's owner, a guy named David, something on his last name, he released a statement and said, we're pulling the event. We canceled it because Kyle Rittenhouse, whatever, the event doesn't reflect our values. So I thought about that for a minute. And I said, well, what are these values? Now, here's a young man who's 17 years old, was viciously attacked, assaulted with a skateboard, had an armed adult pull a gun on him, and he ended up, unfortunately, in defending his own life, having to take 2 lives. He was put through the legal system. He was attacked by the media. He was called everything but his name. They ascribed all kind of nasty motives to this young man. And in our justice system, he was eventually acquitted. So what are his values? Well, it appears his values are using his Second Amendment right and defending his own life. Those are my values too, by the way. So I've made a decision. I won't do business with Southern Star Brewery anymore. Southern Star Brewery has said, well, we're not a political organization. So therefore, we're not going to have that. But back in June, they had a Pride event there. They have had political events there before. But in saying to me, when you're saying that this event doesn't reflect our values, you are making yourself, you're making a political statement. And so they made a political statement. Now they're backpedaling, and they have put out another statement saying HEB had nothing to do with this, despite what the whistleblower guy recorded and said and was released by Defiance Press on their Facebook page. So they're saying that it had nothing to do with that, but it just doesn't reflect our values, which I think makes it worse, guys. I do. So now everybody's, I got accused by somebody, oh, so you're going to be part of the cancel culture. No. I'm not being part of the cancel culture. Southern Star Brewery has told me that I do not reflect their values. I am not somebody they want as a customer. So I'm going to respect that because I'm a free market guy. Just like I respect the rights of the baker in Colorado to not bake a cake for a gay wedding. I respected that right. So my position is entirely consistent. It's not cancel culture. It's free market. If I walked into a place and they said, John, we don't want you here because we don't like you because you're Cajun, I'd say, okay, and I just wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go down and file a lawsuit at the federal court for them discriminating against Cajuns. I'm not going to go places that I'm tolerated. I want to go places that I'm celebrated. I want to make sure that my money is being spent to support people that do reflect my values. So I will not go to Southern Star Brewery ever again because they have told me that my values are not their values. So why should I support that? So I hope that clears that up for you guys. But the event has been moved. It is now going to be at the Lone Star Convention and Expo Center. It's from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Thursday, January 26th. That's 9055 Airport Road, Conroe, Texas. Admission is free. There are VIP tickets available. VIP tickets, I think, get you a picture or you get to meet Kyle Rittenhouse and talk to him. Now, look, Kyle Rittenhouse is, whatever you think about him, it's a really bad situation he was in, but he was a guy that went there to Kenosha. He's not a right-wing guy at all. In fact, I think his views were certainly more left-leaning at the time, more liberal. If you hear his story, he was in Kenosha because he had aspirations of, I think, being an EMT. And he was there. He said in his interview before all this happened, I'm here to give medical care where it's needed because the police and everybody else had pulled out of Kenosha to let the rioters have free reign and destroy everything, which is another issue in and of itself. But he was there for that purpose. And while he was there, he was attacked by a couple of people with criminal history, and he ended up dispatching them from this earthly plane. And you know the rest of the story. And so now I know he has sued the mainstream media. He's suing some of those people for all the things they said about him that were not true. And he is, having a difficult time because of people like Southern Star Brewery who cave in to the woke mob. Now, it gets even more bizarre. So after they cancel the event for Kyle Rittenhouse, said he doesn't reflect our values, after they get this deluge of people calling and making all kind of threats and telling them what crappy people they are for hosting this young man who was there to speak about his experiences, conservatives started calling Southern Star Brewery and saying, we won't shop here anymore. We're not going to use your place for events anymore. And then Southern Star Brewery decided that the right-wing people were now picking on them by saying they weren't going to come there anymore. And so the Chronicle, instead of reporting all of the calls that the story should have been woke mob intimidates Southern Star Brewery into canceling Kyle Rittenhouse event, but that's not what it said. It talked about right wing, extreme right wingers and et cetera, et cetera. That was the first Chronicle article on the deal. And then after it was canceled, then the Chronicle ran a story. Southern Star Brewery receives threats from right wing, in the wake of canceling the Kyle Rittenhouse deal. So thank you, Howard Udell. Exactly. We have the opportunity to not purchase Southern Star products. It's simple as that. They don't have a right to your business. And when they announce we don't share your values, then you do not share my money. It's simple. It's not a retribution thing. It's not a woke culture thing. It's not a cancel culture thing. It's just hey, you've told me I'm not welcome in your place. You don't want people with my values there. Because here's the deal. If I'm sitting in there and I'm armed, which I will be if I ever go to any place, I'm always armed. But if I'm sitting in the place and somebody comes in with a gun and tries to kill me or somebody around me, I am going to do my best to stop that. Southern Star Brewery said they do not want people like that around. Okay. I won't be around you. Good luck to you. Right, Howard? So that's a rally against censorship. Lone Star Convention and Expo Center, Thursday, January 26th from 7 to 10 p.m. I hope to see you there. I will be there. So let's see what's going back at the Capitol again. Let's see what's happening. See if we can get some noise on this. Nope, she's still muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I got some.
So we just had the lieutenant governor sworn in, and right now we have Senator Eddie Lucio from South Texas is speaking. He just is now formally announcing Dan Patrick as the lieutenant governor.
Okay.
And he just introduced Brandon Creighton.
That Brandon Creighton guy.
Thank you, Senator Lucio. It has indeed been a privilege to serve with you in the Texas Senate. Proud Texans, I'm Texas Senator Brandon Creighton. Today we celebrate Texas and all that we stand for. I'm honored to introduce a man who loves Texas, a man who fights for us each and every day, our 42nd Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick. Every family that's made a decision to leave a state like California or New York, they came to Texas because they see a future for their children to succeed. They see communities that aren't apologizing for their success or their faith. They see the exceptionalism of Texas. And the catalyst for our exceptionalism is Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Texas means freedom. Freedom to live your life, freedom to start a business, freedom to decide how to raise your family, freedom to worship, and freedom to say, God bless Texas. But make no mistake, this is not an accident, but it absolutely is a blessing. Are you with me? Texas is the future of this nation because we elect leaders that respect 30 million Texans and their rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. No one exemplifies that more than our Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick. For generations, there have been those that have lacked the vision or the courage to do what's a little too even impossible. Time after time, Dan Patrick has shown the fortitude to go to battle with the naysayers. And Dan Patrick has delivered. On protecting the unborn, Dan Patrick for increasing border security funding to historic levels. Dan Patrick has delivered. For reducing property taxes, Patrick delivered. And for historic raises for our Texas teachers, again, delivered. Promises made, promises kept, and Dan Patrick is not done yet. Through his leadership, we will accomplish more for Texas educators and our 6 million students in Texas schools than ever before. I'm proud to call him a friend and a history-making agenda this nation has not seen. An agenda that reflects the pulse of Texas. A Texas that has never been stronger. A Texas that has never been more conservative. And a Texas that has never been more diverse. Ladies and gentlemen, we're thankful for the Patrick family, especially his wonderful wife, Jan. It's my pleasure to introduce you to a man that's made Texas the most prosperous and most successful state in the nation, your Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words from Senator Lucio, who's retiring after.
He's breaking up. Somebody see if I can. Hey, Sandra, can you mute the mic because it's not coming through clear? There is something breaking just happened. It's being sent to the Republican Party of Texas. I want to keep you apprised of what's happening. Today, our chairman sent out an email to the people of Montgomery County alleging that some of us committed fraud, crimes, intimating that we have been indicted, which is all BS. None of that's true. He's way out of bounds, claiming he has a majority of the party, which is an absolute lie. Just twisting the facts as he usually does. But I did want to let people know that a vote of no confidence was taken by the majority of the party against Mr. Christ and has been submitted to the Republican Party of Texas. The letter to the Republican Party of Texas reads as follows. The CEC, Dear Mr. Rinaldi and members of the SREC, the CEC membership of the Montgomery County Republican Party of Texas, mctxgop.org, wishes to keep you apprised of the latest effort of the membership to impress upon Mr. Christ the need to resolve all disputes to the satisfaction of the majority of the membership. Due to his lack of sincerity to unite the party as demonstrated at mediation and his continued efforts to divide and create animosity and chaos between the members of the CEC, it was decided by the membership to pass a resolution of a call of no confidence on Mr. Brian Christ, Montgomery County Republican Party chairman. The resolution also calls for the immediate resignation of Mr. Christ as chairman for the good of the Montgomery County Republican Party and the Republican Party of Texas. A copy of the resolution is included with this letter. Mr. Christ was notified of this resolution by certified mail, which he should have received on January 17, 2023. This is for your information only, as the membership seeks no further action from the Republican Party of Texas CEC membership. So there it is, folks. In addition to whatever other legal actions are being taken, there is a vote of no confidence that was filed against Mr. Christ, and the state party has been notified. So that's where we are. So whatever he sent out today was just all a bunch of garbage and lies, because that's what he does, unfortunately. But that's certainly not leadership. And I see something. I'll have to look at this. But let me see if I can run us to another quick commercial break. Do we have another? Maybe we do not. Sandra, oh, you got any better audio there? You want to try it again? Maybe not. Warren Peace was listening to the broadcast. He said, sounds like another typical Rhino love affair. I don't know. Look, these guys get caught up in their relationships. Brandon's a good guy. He fights for the right things. I can't complain about the things that he has stood up for. I watched him go toe-to-toe with the Democrats over the monument bill for a long time. And he says, it cost me some political capital. Well, but you did the right thing, Brandon. And I think the fact that your status has been growing in the state of Texas ever since you did do that, you really put yourself out there and people saw what you stood for. I think that's been really good for you in your political career. And I'm happy to stand beside you. Sandra, you're back. Can you unmute your mic now and tell us what's going on?
Well, Dan Patrick is winning the crowd with his wit and humor, as he usually does. It's a real exciting moment. I don't. I was actually hoping somebody. Anyway, so Dan Patrick speaking. I'll let him speak for a minute. He was just talking about his friend Mike Lindell just moved here to Texas.
Okay, I don't think we're getting any sound at all, Sandra. Can you hear me? There you go. Back.
Because, Governor, we have 32 million plus, and we're going to do a lot of great things for the people of Texas because it's your money. By the way, that does not count the 18 to 20 billion in the rainy day fund. What God was about to rest.
Sandra, it's coming in and out. Can you maybe move around a little bit? See if you get a better signal. Sandra, can you hear me? Okay, well, can't really hear what's going on there right now, so I can't even mute the mic because so when it comes back in, I guess it comes back in. Um, listen, if you want to make a difference, get on the phone with your legislators, call them about the Republican Party of Texas priorities, make sure they know that you're focused on, that you're paying attention. Find an organization in your precinct or in your county that is focused on these things and hug it together so you're not walking on each other and retreading ground, stepping on each other. We don't need redundancy. We have limited resources on the grassroots side. We got to make sure we're focused on those things. If there's not a group in your county, start one. You'd be surprised how many people feel just like you. Set up a Facebook page of what you're all about. The Montgomery County Tea Party started out much that way, just a small group of people, and now it's a very robust, active group of people that do so much. Pat Tibbs, the Montgomery County Tea Party, one of our sponsors. Thank you so much for all you do, Pat. Greg Parker, his book, check it out. Conservative Essays for the Modern Era, I believe is what it's called. He's another one of our sponsors. We got a lot of great sponsors. Let's see if we talk about the rest of them, but those are good friends of mine and just great people. You check them out. Support the people that support your values. And like I said, Southern Star doesn't like my values. Okay, fair enough. I'll support the breweries and the people that do. Not a problem. What you got, Sandra? Can you hear me now? You're kind of frozen. I will talk about gender modification of children. Right now, you would be surprised how prevalent this is in Texas. You'd think that there's no way we're mutilating children. There's no way we have Texas doctors chopping off the breasts of young females and masculinize young females. You're not going to, there's no way. But that is happening here, and it's increased tremendously in the percentages of young ladies that this is happening to. Young boys having gender modification done in Texas. It is happening exponentially more. So it is vital. Now, I want you guys to think about this. These children can't consent to anything. They're too young to consent, especially to a life-altering change like this. Now, the Democrats will tell you that it's about, them having mental wellness so they have consistency with their gender and their mindset. This is just ridiculous. I've said this before, when I was a little boy growing up and down in the alluvial bayou lands of Louisiana, kind of a good folk hero for all of us was Jean Lafitte. He was a pirate. But my mom never plucked my eye out and bought me a parrot. Thank God she had the good sense to not do that. She understood I was a child and, I didn't know what I wanted at the time. I wanted to be a pirate, and I sort of acted like a pirate a lot growing up, but that's neither here nor there. Children don't know these things. I mean, they think about, as children, they say, well, I like the color pink. Oh my gosh, he's a girl. They associate things with things that they associate with girls, and parents jump onto this. Now, you should have a parent in your life that tells you the situation, that doesn't mean you're a girl, you're a boy. God created you this way, and that's what you are. You can't change it. I heard somebody describe it this way: 1,000 years from now, they'll dig up your bones and they'll say, this was a boy. It didn't matter that you put lipstick on and fake breasts and paraded around reading stories to children at the library as a drag queen. It's still going to say you're a guy. You can't change it. It's just one of those truths that, sorry, you can't change it. And so instead of you guys keep telling us to accept you for who you are, why don't you take your own advice and accept you for who you are? That seems to make sense to me, right? The fact that you can't accept you for who you are, but you want me to accept you for someone you're not, and you insist upon it, is disturbing to me. And y'all say, well, this is our business, leave us alone. But yet you're in our face with it. You're having parades. You want us to care. You want us to pay attention. And I don't know. I think maybe it's time to start ignoring these people and laughing at them. I think ridicule is a good way to deal with some of this. I really do. Sadly. So we have. Let me see if I can get some sound back on this.
In college. They came back and said, well, we don't listen to the legislature. We don't
Can y'all hear us?
Yes.
Dan Patrick is still speaking. I know, no surprise if you ever heard him speak in public. He loves the
Himself.
microphone.
Yeah, he loves giving himself a talk. And we lost you again, so let me go and put you back down there for that. Dan Patrick came and spoke to the Tea Party meeting a while back. He was very gracious. He was a nice guy. Look, he's a very powerful politician. But like anyone else, he gets influenced by who's whispering in his ear. Does he get it right every time? Nope. Did he come through on constitutional carry eventually? Yep, sure did. And I call it constitutional carry. I've already covered that's really not. But did he come through on the incremental move towards constitutional carry? Yes, he did eventually. But it did take a lot of phone calls from activists, hitting him up about this. They said Rachel Malone was there. She was one of the Gun Owners of America. Now, she's a fascinating story. You think, well, what difference can I make? Well, here's this young lady who went to lobby for something, went to testify for something in Austin, and then has spiraled into her being one of the leaders in the state of Texas for gun rights. She's with Gun Owners of America. I have a lot of respect for her. She does great work. She works hard. If you talk to her, it's not just words she's saying. These are deep in her core beliefs. So we like Rachel Malone a lot. But there are a lot of activists like that. And each of you have your own issue. Permitless carry. Yeah, Howard, right. But a lot of these activists have their own issue. And I'm going to tell you, we can argue, every person's got their pet project, and it's more important than the other guys. And this is where conservatives start banging heads over my issue is more important than yours instead of working together. We got to put this organization together. We got to keep doing this because the forces that are against us are very strong and well organized and well funded. So we have to work together on these things. And there's a lot of synergy between all these conservative groups. And I hate when they're going at each other, but unfortunately it happens a lot. Let's see if I can get Sandra back for the last few minutes of the show. Hey, Sandra.
Hey.
You're in and out today.
So, well, it happens. Somebody has to.
What are we missing? What's happening here? What exciting stuff is happening?
Well, Patrick's still speaking, but he was just talking about how we're going to have a stronger grid this go round. So we'll see.
I'm proud of the Texas Senate, and many of you don't know this.
I don't really know what else to say on
We
that.
normally pass 98
Y'all know.
to 99% of all bills.
Here's a headline that. Let me pull this up.
We're not Washington,
Like this.
He just
You
said
talk about people that just want attention. Here you go. There's the poster child for I want attention. That's Greta Thunberg being carried away by German police at a coal miner protest.
Well, I thought you were going to put Christian Collins up, but that's okay.
Oh, that was me.
There's one in every party. That's a little bit. We all saw what happened on January 7th.
I give you my promise, my oath of office.
You're so mean.
Be relentless in protecting the freedom and liberty.
I'm tempted to
It
read,
just seems like that kind of day.
but I want to talk to the attorney first. It's addressing all this stuff before I do that. I see Zelensky lost one of his advisors who has resigned. Oh, big deal. I'm just trying to see the latest breaking news. In the Who Cares news, Brittany Griner makes her first public appearance. I'm going to go back to Who Cares.
Oh.
I liked all the people that would say, oh my gosh, I just don't like Brittany Griner, blah, blah, blah. I go, okay, who does she play for? Who did she play for? And nobody knows. Because nobody goes to see those WNBA games.
Well, hold on. I want to say something here really quick. Oh, I can't see the timestamp on that. I was going to see what time I told you that Lieutenant Governor was starting to talk. I think he talked for a good 30 minutes at least.
Did he say anything worth hearing?
No, nothing that made me believe any more in him today than I did when I didn't vote for him in March.
Elon Musk cracks me up. His latest thing that he's done that's got people pulling their hair out is he changed his. I'm going to pull it up here so you guys can see it. He changed.
They
his,
are giving the oath of office now to.
He changed his Twitter profile description to state affiliated media. That is hilarious. Elon Musk trolling people, state affiliated media. That's a shot, of course, at the way Twitter has been abused for so long by the state, who was controlling what was on there, dictating to Twitter before he owned it, what they can put out there, what they can't, what they call misinformation. They would just scrub it off of there, and then of course deny it later. But now all the records are coming out showing that our government was censoring what people were posting, and so Elon is having
He's from this area. From the Houston area.
affiliated media, which I love. And also in a cats loving dogs and hell freezing over moment, I see the Dallas Cowboys actually won a playoff game. Congratulations, I guess. They beat Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady, you will remember, was drafted back when they had leather helmets with no face masks on.
Nobody told me about the cannon fire after the governor gets sworn in. My heart almost stopped just so we're all clear.
That's to let everyone know. Are you gonna get down?
Sorry, my heart's still racing a second.
Here in the world.
There's also a plane that's flying overhead that says we want to vote on Texas.
No way.
Yeah. It's over in the trees right now. We can't see it. As soon as he got sworn in, there was a plane that flew overhead that said we want to vote on Texas. That is absolutely hysterical. Hold on, it's coming behind us now. See, look at the man. I don't know if I can get it on the camera.
You know what, Sandra? I don't think it's the right time to vote on Texas, quite honestly.
You know what? I think it's a good opportunity to find out a temperature of a state, but not
it's
to
not,
vote.
it's not the right time to vote on it, because if you vote on it now, it's going to go down. Everybody's going to freak out. But I think that the more the globalists and the leftists show how corrupt they are, I think the more people wake up. I think there will be a time to vote on it, and I think there will be a time to actually seriously consider leaving. I just don't think most people are there right now, to be honest with you. What do you think?
No, I think you're absolutely right, and it's something that Walter says all the time. Texas will secede on its own. It doesn't need to be pushed. And if we secede, do you really want Abbott as the first president of Texas in several years?
I'm probably going to say no.
Nobody wanted him president of the United States, so why would we want him as president of Texas?
Yeah, the straw poll in Texas was just bizarre. Here's our governor at the CPAC poll in Texas getting no votes. I mean, that should be an indicator, right?
Okay.
What else is going on here? So Biden's home.
It's fixing to get even deeper here now than it did when Abbott was speaking. I mean, when Lieutenant Governor was speaking.
Blessed me with a wonderful family, including my extraordinary wife, the fabulous First Lady of Texas, Cecilia Abbott.
Well, John, we only have about 2 minutes left because remember we have to give a 5-minute leeway for the next show. So, guys, don't forget tomorrow we are going to be in the state capitol. Our goal is to be able to come to you live. There's our amazing Rachel. the Texas Fully Loaded team is growing, and we couldn't be more honored and blessed by that. So we here in Austin are going to sign off for now, but we'll come back at you guys tomorrow. And of course, we'll have more fun stuff in between. I'm sure Walt will be posting pictures soon.
Well, thank you, Sandra. You put together a nice report for us there of what's happening in Austin. We could use it. We'd like to keep up with it. Certainly like to use Texas Fully Loaded as a conduit to get this information out to the grassroots people all across the state. And thank you for the work that you and Walter are doing. It was good to see you last night at the Tea Party. Again, I apologize. I didn't have much time to talk to you. I was dealing with water issues, talking with one of the newly elected people in Harris County, and among other things, not just water issues. But I appreciate you guys being there last night. Thank you. Hopefully you got something out of the meeting. Seemed to be a decent crowd, and hopefully see you at another one soon.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Bye, y'all.
Take care.
Are heirs to the freedom that is secured by the men and women who have worn.
Well, Texas Fully Loaded, we are committed to bringing you the latest news from around the world. Not a whole lot else going on. I mean, the same thing's happening in Ukraine as was happening before. Same thing's happening in China as was happening before. Nothing really new going on there. Lots of saber rattling. This World Economic Forum happening in Switzerland right now may have some developments out of it. I don't know, but you got a lot of big influencers there. As I said, there's 116 billionaires there from all over the world, talking about their view of what the world should be in globalism, et cetera, et cetera. We'll see what comes out of that. Maybe nothing, maybe something, I don't know. Meanwhile, here at home, we're being, all the Biden crime wave stuff is coming to pass. I saw that, you're supposed to have a controlled entry for area where there's classified documents. Of course, there was no such thing in Biden's Delaware home where people were in and out all the time. No telling who saw these documents. We don't even know what's in them. If it's a matter of national security, any major secrets divulged, we have no idea. But they're all over the place, scattered 3 different locations now at least. I'm sure there'll be more. I saw the Babylon Bee ran that story. They said colonoscopy finds, Biden's colonoscopy finds more classified documents. And that's funny, but they're all over the place. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So for Texas Fully Loaded, I guess I'm going to go ahead and sign off a couple minutes early today. There is a lot happening here in Montgomery County I have to go deal with. But God bless you guys. Thank you for tuning in today. And we will see you. Sandra will be back tomorrow, and I will see you again on Thursday. God bless you. Have a good day.